So we've been saying that permaculture is not just about gardening, but what do we mean by that? What we mean is that it's also about energy and transportation and waste and community relationships, your relationship with yourself. It's about how your house is built and how that connects to the landscape around it. So in this video, we're going to explore a little bit more of permaculture beyond the garden. And as we cultivate our whole system designer's mindset, then think about how these ideas connect to what you want to do in your home and in your garden. And especially if you're a renter or you're in a place right now where you don't feel like it's a permanent abode for you, maybe you don't want to put in a whole big food forest. So some of these ideas in this video will help you sort of conceptualize how you can start practicing permaculture right now, no matter where you are. One of the most important things to think about is your transportation. How do you get around? How does your food get to your table? Farm to table is great, but how did it get there and how far away was the farm? So if you're thinking about how to incorporate permaculture ideas into your life, start with transportation. So one of the most important parts of this work is the community relationships. You can build these interactive communities that really make it possible to consume a lot less resources. We live here in this neighborhood where everyone knows each other and people freely share stuff like eggs and cheese and extra baby plants, and it's a really awesome way to participate in a system even though we're only renting. Energy is a really big part of this as well. How are you consuming energy? Where are you getting your electricity? How are you heating your water? How are you cooking your food? And if you look up there, you can see our solar water heater. And here in this house, we don't have solar electricity, but we would like to have that. But you have to sort of weigh the pros and the cons. So there's a lot of different things to think about, and you should do the math in your own situation. But for us, it definitely makes a lot of sense because we have a ton of sun here. So it would make no sense at all to use gas or electricity to heat our water. So make common sense decisions, think about the whole system. And also having the water heater gives us just one more thing to add to our home system to help us pull things into a greater ecological harmony with the whole. So even if we're not growing all of our own grains and proteins, which we have a nice walnut tree, so we're growing a lot of protein, but we are still purchasing protein, but at least we're heating our own water. So, every little bit counts, and you're not going to achieve a perfectly sustainable system, but you're going to learn so much about how to be a part of nature, and your quality of life is going to become so much better, even if you're only doing little bits here and there. Hey! Estoy hablando de nuestro calentador de agua.
Ah, qué guay. Yo
Pueden
quiero
ver.
uno.
Sí, necesito. Ciao. And then another thing you can and should consider is the waste cycle. Are you recycling your compost? Are you making best use of available resources? Are you resisting the urge to buy unnecessary items and not use them in your house? Are you accumulating other people's waste that you thought was a resource and then not using it? These are all the different things that you can do to sort of incorporate your consciousness into the waste cycle, but also to participate in permaculture in ways other than just gardening. Obviously in gardening we use waste and we try to prohibit waste and all of these things, but in your community in general, you could be the person who puts up all those tiny free libraries, or who starts a local free store for young single moms. There's so many different little niches that you can fill by tapping what's in the waste cycle. When you're in the garden, this principle applies tenfold. So much of what you see here in my garden when I'm sharing content with you in my home space, so much of it was found from the waste stream. It was surplus. It was plants that other people didn't want, or plants that they just had extra of. And so, you start tapping into the potential. You start being nice to people and sharing and being truly and deeply interested in what it feels like to live in a world where everyone is generous, and a lot of plants and seeds and places to live and transportation opportunities and jobs. A lot just sort of starts to come for you, and the tapping into the waste system is a really big part of making this happen. And of course I didn't say don't garden. I didn't even say don't start with the garden. I just said don't just garden, or don't not do permaculture because you don't have a garden. So there's so many layers to this, and you can really learn and train your mind and get connected and just kind of have an awesome time when you mix all these things together. So good luck with that, and don't forget about the self-care piece of the puzzle. Zone Zero is really important. And we'll circle back to a lot of these ideas as our class continues.